often our clients will be looking at new boats and the second-hand boat market as well. There's often some really nice pre-owned boats with a fair bit of gear on board, and it sort of makes sense. But what we are finding is that the lagoon catamarans specifically and uniquely have got a very high resale value, and so that difference between going for a second-hand boat and actually taking the leap to go to a new boat is a bit of an easier decision to make, and we're finding a lot of clients are making that choice to go with a new boat. I mean, it's a nice thing to be able to do. You get to choose how your boat is. You get to make it your boat. You know, you're sleeping on it for the first time. You're using the oven for the first time. You're naming the boat. And I think that, as we always say, the most important time in any boat life, if you like, is the commissioning process, when we're putting it together and getting it right. And our clients have got very precious cargo on board, which is their families that they go and their friends that they're going sailing with. So that confidence that's gained from being involved in the process of picking up the boat from new is important, and for a lot of people it makes sense. So there's lots of reasons and lots of different people choosing to do this adventure, choosing to pick the boat up at the factory and head off around the world. We're finding young families that want to introduce their children to different cultures around the world and have a very special adventure. And we've got people who've retired that choose to head off and sometimes spend years and years cruising around the world together. The lagoons are great for that. The 42 with the self-tacking head sail and the easily managed mainsail means that a couple can handle quite a large boat like this 42 with ease, and so it's a very popular thing to do. We also have professionals who whilst are still working don't want to wait, so they want to get on board a lagoon, take a handover, head off perhaps down to the Mediterranean, and then they'll do stints on board the boat, leaving it, winterizing it perhaps over winter, coming back to Australia and having the boat set up as an office, so a mobile office. And that's becoming really popular as well as a way to do it now. There's so many reasons that Australians are choosing to pick their boat up in Europe. Number one is the adventure. You know, there is a financial side to it, and there's quite a substantial saving. On a boat like a 42 here, you would be saving, you know, up to a couple of $100,000 picking up at factory direct pricing through the multi-hull group, as opposed to having the boat shipped to Australia with taxes paid. So that certainly is a motivator for people. But really, number one is the adventure and the things they're going to see and do as a family or as a couple or as an individual with friends. Everyone has different ideas as to the plan that they're going to have and the route that they'll take. France is really well located. So generally our clients will pick the boat up from us at the factory where we hand it across. And then you could go north towards northern Europe, but a lot of people will turn left and head down the Bay of Biscay round into the Mediterranean. Often our clients will ask us to have a skipper on board for that initial first couple of legs, which really takes the pressure off. It allows them to just do that first bit of learning and sailing in a relaxed way with somebody else in charge, and it gets you then round towards Gibraltar and into the Mediterranean. A lot of clients will spend 1, 2, 3 seasons in the Mediterranean. There's a lot of countries to see, a lot of cultures. It's protected, nice sailing generally in the Mediterranean, so that's a real draw card. From there, come September, October, you would tend to head, if wanting to head across to the Caribbean, you'd head down towards the Canaries. And in the Canaries, a lot of the clients and the owners will join the Atlantic Rally for Cruises, or the ARC as it's called, which is a great organization. It's a great event. What it does is all the yachts muster in the Canaries, and from there you can go either via Cape Verde and across to the Caribbean, or direct. There's two routes you can take with the Ark, but what it provides you is great guidance around safety. You're cruising in company. They've got lots of fun events around it. So it's a great way to get to the Caribbean, and then you're in the Caribbean for Christmas. Having explored the Caribbean, the normal route come April time would be to go through the Panama Canal and then into the Pacific. So you're almost on home waters, and so much to see. You're talking about the Galapagos, the Tuamotus, the Marquesas, down to Tahiti. You've got Bora Bora, and from there you're going to go perhaps down through to New Zealand or across to Noumea, and then hop across the Australian east coast. It's a well-worn path, and it's an incredible adventure that Australians are really embracing and loving. Often clients will ask us what happens once you've handed the boat across to us. What then in terms of service and after-sales support? We've been doing this for a long time. We've got a really nice service team in place, and what we're very lucky about is that Lagoon have over 80 dealers around the world, so they're quite unique in that respect. And it means really you've effectively got over 80 service centers around the world to look after you, and you have us at the Multi-Hull Group to coordinate any work, any warranty issues, or just simply to answer any questions that you've got along the way. I really believe in this adventure. It's something I've been lucky enough to be handing over boats to clients for the last 15 years. I've seen children who we launched the boat for their family and they were 5 years old, and now they're at university, and you see the change in these children, the education they're getting, just the wisdom of that they get, and how they grow when they're traveling around the world and meeting new people and seeing different cultures is it's priceless. It's an amazing thing to be able to offer. I was just in Tahiti just a couple of weeks ago actually, and I managed to meet 3 different Lagoon catamarans with their owners and the families, all of whom we'd launched their boats for at the factory, and really to see them in the midst of their cruising, to see how they've grown as sailors, as people, to hear their experiences, the things they'd seen, the adventures they'd had, and so much they have still ahead of them, was really pleasing, and it's something that I would love to do myself, and I expect I will, given the chance. Traditionally, we've handed the boats over from May and the start of the European summer all the way through to September. Now we're finding a lot of clients are picking up boats in December, January, really any time throughout the year. For those that want to launch during these quite popular times in the European summer, we're finding that clients are now booking in for not this next year, but the year after that. So they're getting their slot, and they're allowing them, I suppose they're turning what were just dreams into plans. So they've got a date that they're now planning for, and that works really well. So the popularity of Lagoon catamarans is such that although we're ramping up our production, it's hard to keep up. So the slots are limited, and we're finding, as I say, clients are really starting to book in advance their slots. In terms of the boats that people are choosing to buy, I guess the sweet spot is around that 45-foot, 42 to 45 for a couple. Of course, when you buy a boat, you get a lot of friends that come along and want to come along, so some people will choose to go for a larger boat, perhaps the new 50, or even towards the even bigger boats, where sometimes the clients will take a skipper full time. So you might go for the Lagoon 560 or the 620, and run it in a slightly different manner. There's a fair bit of planning that goes into this. We enjoy that process with our clients, helping them choose the boat, the layout, going through the upholstery, all the different items, perhaps the offshore gear, and we can advise you on how people tend to specify their vessels. So if it's something that you're considering doing, you want to talk more about it, we're here to help. And so pick up the phone, drop us an email, and we'd be very pleased to be in touch.